Hey, hey, what is up? Welcome to Recovery Soul Food. Man, this is a spiritually based, whole human, whole self healing addiction recovery podcast. And I am the host of it. I am Reverend LC, and I'll explain that little title and how it fits in a little bit later. But I'm super grateful to be back here to be able to sit in this seat to hopefully sharing this energy as we continue this little series. Of course, I have no time these days to do any kind of promotion, and I didn't really because it's really been so iffy on whether I was going to be able to have the energy and the time from work to be able to do it, that it was just one of those things where I just didn't get to it. And so this is I'm grateful for who's here and who ends up showing up and who actually watches this on the replay, because it means a lot to me to get to do this and share this with you, because as we go through these hard things, to me it's the service that I feel called to do, to be able to share about it, because I thought I was in the worst shape. And I know that every single one of us in the addiction recovery space have felt that way about ourselves. And so when we can take from that what was meant for our harm and use it for our, not only our good, because this does me so much, just it's kind of like therapy as well, and it gives me great pride to be able to share about it, and to also be able to recognize and be able to look as I'm talking about these things and telling these stories. I'm able to look over my life and see its growth as well, because we often don't stop and look at how far we've come. We only keep staring at how far we feel like we have to go, when in reality, there's only one moment, this moment. And so, to say all that, I'm grateful to be here. I hold the title of a reverend because at a certain point in my life, I had this wound, or this wounding with religion as a young child, as a lot of us probably have. And so there was a lot of back and forth with that, and coming into recovery introduced me to a different like spiritual side of myself, more longing for something to hold on to, some hope that there's something bigger than me. And so when I stepped in those spaces, it had always just been this dream, really honestly, of mine, for a person like me to be able to be ordained to do that. And I use that reverend title because it's just something that makes me, just often a little thing that lets me know I can achieve dreams. No matter how bad it seems right now, no matter how much we're going through right now, if we'll stop and look at where we are today, it's a result of the dreams we've dreamed in the past. And so as long as we keep stopping and taking a look at these things and taking a look at these moments, we keep giving ourselves hope that, okay, wait a minute, I'm living in my dream from, I don't know, a year ago, 3 years ago, 2 years ago, whatever it was, 20 years ago, for me, 30 years almost. I'm living in the manifestation of my dreams right now. Even as hard as it is, I come to this in order to open up to what is next. And I'm in the process of going to what it is that I'm currently dreaming about. And so, anyway, that's all. That's what that title means to me. Every time I get to use it and look at it, and or someone calls me by that. Now, I don't walk around the street going by that. Like, I don't introduce myself that way. It's really for this and my platforms, because I think it also opens the door to my heart. It kind of gives someone, an idea of, and I don't know, maybe not, but this is a place of peace. This is a place of love. We want our whole body, mind, body, and spirit healing in this space. It's a spiritually based space, and just open here, open to the journey of healing. And that's what tonight's video is going to talk about. I'm going to talk a little bit about year 5. This has been a 10-part series. Unfortunately, it hasn't gotten to run as smoothly as planned, but I'm getting to it. And so tonight we'll be talking about year 5. And year 5 is really where I took a really deep journey within. And we're going to talk about that a little bit in great detail tonight, because that's what when I'm thinking that back over year 5, what were the big milestones? What were the big things? I there's a lot that came in year 5, and there was a lot to carry with year 5. And so that's what we're going to talk about. And we're going to talk about it in detail tonight. I'm super excited again to be back. Thank you. And I'm grateful that you're allowing me to be a part of your space, your energy. Welcome, welcome. If you're new here, if you're returning, thank you so much. I'm not even over to the comments. Well, I'll get to it in a minute. While we're here and while we're growing, if you're watching this in the beginning on the replay, I want to introduce you to some amazing resources. I do this every time because I love to give resources that are actually available to, basically everybody, and some resources that I find super have found super helpful and still do. So this one, the first one, is our good friend and my sister, my soul sister, Pamela Topjian's book. I didn't come this far to only come this far. Another living in the dreams, putting it all together, looking back and offering just amazing, just inspiration in all of this. And you can pick this up on Amazon along with her other. She's got a new memoir. She was a nurse for a long time and became disenchanted with that for many reasons, and she talks about it in great detail in Behind the Mask, Gloves, and Scrubs: One Nurse's Journey. She also worked in the addiction recovery field, and you know and has a lot of wisdom in that area too. And I guess part of the disenchantment, and we're changing that. We're making recovery the epidemic. That was the reason we started this thing, right? So get those books right there at Pamela Topjian on Amazon.com. Also, I love this resource. Pamela's a hypnotherapist and does amazing guided meditations and all kinds of hypnosises. And she's got this amazing YouTube channel, YouTube Pamela Topjian. Please put that in the link somewhere, somebody. But she's got a great guided visualization to help relieve cravings. And I say, man, build your tools. Your tools may not look like somebody else's tools. Build your tools. Build the tools that keep you alive, that keep you moving forward, that keep you, knowing that you're worth it. So utilize everything in your arsenal. Oh, I do. There it is. YouTube.com/ at Pamela Topjian. All right. There is an amazing book out in the recovery world by our good friend Matty Jablonski of The Point of Change. It's the Poetry of Change. I love it. I'm so proud of him. You can pick that up on Amazon at / Poetry of Change. I love that he did it this way. So unique, so creative. I love Matty Jablonski and The Point of Change, and I know everybody does. So y'all go pick it up. Let's support our brother. He has been supporting us all for so long. Let's go support him. Pick that up. And I have one of my most favorite and revered resources right now. It's the Tao Te Ching by my good friend. It's not by him, it's his wisdom with the ancient text. It's beautiful. It has all of the verses. It's a wonderful little pocket resource, and you can get that at martinjohn.com. Martin John Garcia. martinjohn.com. Y'all, I'm rusty at this. I've been gone for like two weeks now, maybe 3. I'm rusty at it. Y'all bear with me. I'm getting my stuff. And always remember, guys, you can support our podcast. You do it with your likes, your shares, your follows, and all of that good stuff. Even though I'm lazy on this, like I said, Pamela does so much for me, and I do the best I can, but we don't put a lot of stuff out these days. Got a lot going on, but you can still go and follow us, show your support. I do the best I can there, hoping to get to do better. And you can also become a monetary supporter, help us keep going and growing at anchor.com, anchor.fm / recovery soul food. Click the support button. Now, I think that's no longer that. So the link still takes you over to the Spotify, because Spotify, I guess, bought it out or whatever. But the link still works. So you can support us there, and I really, really appreciate it. Everything that comes in through there goes right back into the podcast, paying for the streaming platforms, paying for the digital stuff. I mean, all of that stuff, it goes right back into it, and it helps me a lot, and I appreciate it so, so, so much. So I know y'all thought we started already, because I've been talking so much, but we haven't. So if y'all are ready, I'm ready. Let's go. I love it. I'm in the comments and Chip's got me all cracked up and I love it. Thank you for being here, Chip. What a fun energy you bring. I love it when you're here. Welcome, Pamela. I love it when you're here, these energies. I mean, to be surrounded by the people I get to be surrounded by and get to share space and a life with these days, bah, blows my mind. Blows my mind. What's up, Joe? Man, thank you so much, man, for hanging out here with us. And for those, hey, Tara, so nice to see you. Gosh, it's been a while, hasn't it? Great to see you. So some of the if you're watching on other platforms, we're kind of live on. Listen, it's kind of a cheat because I don't really have a whole lot of time. So because I love to live stream, and because I don't have time to record a separate podcast, I do it like this, and I stream to everyone, try as many platforms as I can as possible, because man, I just really started well, I started a business last year. It's grown this year. Um, there's just a lot of stuff, things going on, and so I do the best I can, and I always believe that whatever message is meant for somebody always finds them in some way, shape, or form. Y'all forgive me. My wife finds things that are healthy for us, and so now this new hydrogen bottle is supposed to be healthy for me. So you guys may watch me pour water down my chest for the entire session. I hope it doesn't bother you. I love her, man. She's trying to take care of me, and I appreciate that. I cannot imagine being able to be the human being that deserves somebody who looks after me as well as she does. So if she's watching, shout out to my wife Jessie. I love her so much. And hey, listen, there's a lot of people that do a lot of praying out here in these recovery communities. And my mom's going through some stuff right now with some pain. And so I just want to put that out there. If y'all could just send my mom some love and some healing energy and some prayers, and just however it is that you connect and send those things. I ask you to please send some positive energy her way. She's a 68-year-old woman, still cleaning, and just going and trying to be there for everybody, and she does the best she can and keep all of us in check. So yeah, send her some prayers and stuff. I appreciate that. And so with that, let's start talking about year 5. I was thinking about year 5 of my recovery, and I started thinking about all the things that were happening at this time. Our son was in like his mid-teenage years at this point, and his mom was going through a lot. We were watching her just be go deeper and darker into a depression, and for the longest time it was just 3 of us. That was our family, so we meant everything to each other, so we were watching a lot go on, and I had done a lot of the surface level healing trauma work, and as hard as all of that was in years 1 through 4, as hard as all that was, I realized in year 5 there was still more to go. But when I began this recovery journey, I made a pact with myself that I was going to see my best self through all the way. So I know when certain things come up that they're there to help me achieve this. It took me a long time, and I think year 5 starts to really hone this in to move past being the victim of life and being more kind of the receiver almost, because there's so many things that happen to us that are outside of our control. And there's nothing that we can do. And if we take that experience, we have this opportunity to move that experience through, not dismiss it and not escape from it, but actually move it through our bodies versus damming it up wherever it is that we don't want to feel it and letting it fester and wait and send us deeper and darker into the trails of addiction, for instance, the darker mental health stuff, you know. And we have this opportunity to, are we going to be angry because this thing is happening to us that we can't control? We can't stop. We couldn't stop. This is where we are right now. You can't stop inflation. You can't. And people are suffering. And I started learning that we have this opportunity when we learn more, when we've made responding and less, less reacting, when we've made that more of a habit through those earlier years in our recovery program, when we start to make our responding the norm versus reacting, we give ourselves the moment to say, how am I going to go through this? Am I just going to shut whatever this experience is out? Am I going to shut whatever this emotion is out? Am I going to shut whatever this was that's happened out and stay in denial, or continue to use and escape because we don't want to feel it? Or am I going to feel this stuff through? Am I going to feel it through? Am I going to do what I can? When I lost I lost, most of you know my story, in 2008, tail end of 2007, but mostly 2008. I lost the three of the four most important humans in my life, my world, my existence. I lost three of those four people in a matter of weeks and months. And it was this moment of these years of this grief of trying to figure out, because I also made a promise, to my grandfather, as he's dying. My last words to him is, I'm going to figure out how to do something with my life and make you proud. I'm going to figure it out. And I knew in my soul I couldn't lie to him in that moment. Like, I had this voice tell me when I'm on the phone with him, and I feel to say this. I have a voice almost audible that tells me, don't say that. Don't say that, because you can't make this promise to him at this moment and not keep it. And you don't know how to keep it. And this is the voice talking to me in my head. It's telling me, you don't know how to keep it, so don't make the promise. But my soul is saying, make the promise. And so I learned from that experience and all the years that it took to heal, because I'd go on to stay addicted for years just because I didn't know how to figure it out. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know how. I wanted to do something different. I wanted not to use, but I had no idea how to feel my feelings from all of this without being overwhelmed. And on top of it, I just didn't understand why I was living at all. I couldn't figure it out. I felt like such a terrible failure. But I learned from that. So I say all that to say this. I learned from that as grief has happened in my life since, I've tried to learn each time how to appreciate someone while they're here, and how to be really, really grateful for them while they're here, so that I don't live with these devastating regrets after they're gone. And that was really, that's the example of what I'm saying about how am I going to move through this, whatever is standing in front of me. Am I going to do it in a way that's going to help me, have a better experience, go through it easier? I mean, when we talk about things like money, that's such a crazy subject because so many of us that experience the addiction part, the substance use addiction part, we have money problems because we have no idea mostly how to manage money when we stop using. So in a lot of ways, we end up using our money the same way that we used it before, and we never have enough. And we find ourselves stuck in some of the same patterns of behavior as we did when we were using, which is, either reach out to other people or, take something or whatever it is. And so we feel stuck in that when we're in that, and that's not where we feel like we're connected to recovery. And so that's what I'm learning how to do in year 5. I'm learning how not to allow what is happening. Not, I can't control. So what I found out during that time of year 5 is that I cannot control my wife's journey. I cannot control where she's going. I have spent years trying to control and stop that depression from taking hold of her like this. But in some ways, I feel, I didn't know how to fight healthy for it. And so I often wondered, did I help drive her further down into it? Was I not compassionate enough? All of those things. But I'm learning how to detach my control from that and let it be because I've shown myself that I don't know how to stop it from happening and start then focusing more in on healing myself and it's why it's so devastatingly important to try to stop it versus to be there to just try to nurture it. And these are I think I began working with a trauma informed coach in year 5. I don't remember if it's year 5. It's got to be year 5. But anyway, because I started really detaching from that energy, and what it started to do was then release my wife's energy to come out of that place. Because you got to remember, especially if you're talking about somebody else or how you feel about somebody else and you want them to change, when you think they need to change, doesn't matter if they do or not. As long as you are completely focused in on that thing you think they need to change, we just end up drawing in more of the same thing. Where focus goes, energy flows, and I am a witness to that. I'm living in that scenario right now. So whatever we energize, and just remember that that's not woo-woo stuff, that's not spiritual stuff, that's just fact. Whatever you energize with your attention and you lock it in with your emotion, you're that's what you're putting out. That is the vibration, that is the frequency that you're putting out. And only things within that same vibration and frequency can you see. And that's why it seems like our lives are in these circles. I told y'all I probably should have got a rag. I probably should have got something. I'm gonna wear water all night. But that's why our lives keep going in these loops and circles. And I don't know if I should say this, but this kind of came to me like 2 weeks ago. Well, no, maybe like a week ago. But that addiction really is a frequency. It's a frequency that we get on. It's a vibrational level that we get on. It's a frequency that we can resonate with because it already existed before we got to it. So it was a frequency that some of us resonate with. And when we change all of that, just like you notice, when you start changing yourself, your friends start changing. The kind of people you want to be around start changing. The things that you no longer, man, this just ain't fun for me no more. I don't really want to be here. anymore. As you start changing yourself and healing yourself, the people around you begin to start to change, and that's what that is. That's a vibrational frequency shift. You've done, so you've lightened your load to the point where you're radiating, more light as a human, and now you can match people that are mostly on that. Now, if you are a person who continuously keeps matching frequencies with the same old girl or the same old guy or whatever it is, however that is, then that's what you look at. It's not that there aren't any good men out there. It's not that there aren't any good women out there. It's that you're only vibing with the ones because you're so afraid of that you don't want, that you energize that. And so you keep getting the same thing over and over and over again. And so anyway, this is all what I'm learning in year 5. And it's a lot. And life is a lot. I finally kind of start working and have like a steady income, which was really hard to do, because most of my audience will understand, because probably a lot of you've had some run-ins with the law, and people don't like that. And it doesn't really matter how old it is. A lot of times you get passed up for things. And so it was very hard for me to keep income coming in the house for my family. So I would do all of these little jobs everywhere. If you needed your grass mowed, if you needed your house painted, if you needed this, that's what we did. Had to survive, had a family to support. And so for the first time in my whole history, I've got, a steady income. I'm working in something. I'm working with my mom every day, and some days in the beginning were real touchy, and then we found a great a rhythm, and it was, to this day, we all have a family business. So, there was a lot happening in year 5, and there were many, many blessings, and the reason, I guess, that I probably share a little bit more what maybe sounds more like the hard stuff is because at the end of the day, the hard stuff were the greatest blessings. Because out of that, more than anything, I started learning that I may actually be able to achieve the ongoing, ever evolving, best possible version of myself. And if that's my goal, that was the promise that I basically made to myself in making that promise to my grandfather on his deathbed. And so, you know, I'm trying to think of what else was year 5. I mean, God, it was so much when to think about it versus trying to really speak about it. It's I can't even convey how overwhelming it was. And yet again, like I said, it was a milestone. It was a great milestone for me because it was the first time in my entire life that I had ever made it to 5 years in recovery. And this has been my first try at recovery because recovery is a lifelong thing. I think it's just another word for healing. It's a lifelong thing, but it starts to make you truly free of the addiction. It's not about skirting around it. It's not about, it's about when you go to heal your whole self and you go to the root of what is that wound that we refuse to look at, that is so much that we have to know, that we must escape the moment the emotions of that are triggered, because that root down there is is basically the cause, the moment. What grows up becomes a pattern of behaviors and a way of living and experiencing life. It becomes perceptions. It becomes actions and then into addictions. But the root of it lives mostly in a traumatic. Somewhere, somehow, there is something to escape. And so when we go down to the root, then we start to become free. And it's okay. We have to start chopping chopping it down, from top to bottom when we first start, because we've got to retrain ourselves. And I was learning more and more about the brain and how it processes, and how important it is for certain things, and the way that you can retrain the brain. And I needed like a scientist to be able to tell me that. I was of the belief always that it would work for somebody else, but it wouldn't work for me. Somehow I always thought I was the exception to the rule. But gosh, what else? What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? I don't know. Maybe I'm just so tired. My energy says, well, maybe that's a closed message. Maybe that's it. I don't know. I don't know. I am just, thank y'all for being here. I can't think of anything else really in year 5 that is on my heart to share. I try to just open myself up to anything that, I try to give it over to the energy of the people. I don't write anything out or usually make too many plans. I just try to speak from where my heart leads me to speak, and to share with you hopefully something that may resonate with your soul and help your journey be lighter and easier maybe, or at least let you know that you're not alone and that it is possible. Like, I don't care if you're breathing. It's possible to heal. It is possible to get free. When we're in addiction, we are slaves. It is possible to get free, and you've got to recover your way. Man, that's one of the most important things, and I want to say that before I close out. You got to recover your way, and your way doesn't have to look like somebody else's way. But if it's on its freest and greatest version of on its way to the freest and greatest version of yourself, and then it's for you. And that's a recovery program. And I hope that we can start to really just continue to open up and embrace each other in every form of healthy recovery. I'm not talking about the bullshit, and you know what the bullshit is, and I'm not talking about the stuff that we clearly see ain't really it. But at the core of it, healthy examples of healthy recovery tools and people living different forms and ways of recovery, and sharing what it is, how we recover with someone else, whether it be one-on-one, in a group, online, however you do it or feel called to do it. you know do that. Do that. People are dying out here, man. This is alarming to, like, it is heartbreaking to watch what's happening. And yet, I see the light in every one of those souls. Those people are not lost. They're not gone. We cannot give up. We cannot give up on people still out there suffering. They're suffering more than ever before. And so let's be open to share, and let's be open to recovery paths that just may go against everything you've ever thought of or everything you've ever experienced. Let's embrace people that are embracing healing. They're embracing the healing of their whole selves, because that is what we're doing here in these wild ass times. We're here to make this shift back to humanity and being open to one another. Recovery community, when it comes down to it, if it all jumps off, we're all in one clique. We got to be together. Everybody needs to be together with everybody. And I'm just joking about that. I hope y'all know that. But we all have to be open to each other's path. And we don't need to tear each other down. And we don't need to be out there helping to, you know, try to make ourselves right. Let's bring ourselves together and be open. Okay. I'm really done. I love you guys, man. Thanks so much, everybody. Brandy, thank you so much. I love it. I haven't even read any comments tonight. I apologize. It's just been I've been focused on the white light. Amazing, Brandy. Amazing. I love it. Neuroplasticity. That's exactly what that is. And that stuff's so interesting, man. Study your body, y'all. And please drink plenty of water. And I'm telling myself that same thing too. Don't worry, I struggle with it sometimes, but drink plenty of water. I'm really starting to find out that the secret to, helping myself feel better in general is making sure that I get a lot of damn water. And so, yeah, yeah, I love it. Thanks, Chip. I love that guy. Thank you, Pamela, so much for being here, everybody. And I'll finish reading these. If not, I'll just sit here and read with y'all. But I really appreciate y'all being here. Thanks so much. I think I'm gonna go. I think I'm gonna go to every 2 weeks for a little while. I'm gonna try to stick to that, and then hopefully I can come back, and hopefully, when I can get back going pretty good, I'll be able to have my little spot set up. But I'll set up anywhere just to be able to come and connect with you guys. So thanks so much for that. So yeah, thank y'all. If you feel led, do all the stuff, the like, the share, subscribe. I've tried my best to grow my YouTube channel, but I'm sure I'm not doing something right um, with it, and I'm definitely not doing enough. So, but if you'd be so kind, please subscribe over on YouTube at Recovery Soul Food. So, I guess until 2 weeks from now, I appreciate you and I love you, and I know that you gotta know that you can get up from your give up, and you absolutely can create a life you love. You got breath, you got possibility. Let's go. Bye, guys.